Tony Allen will always be remembered for his tenacity, determination, and one of the great defensive masters that have ever passed in the history of the NBA. His way of defending drove his rivals crazy.
First team all defense.
And even Kobe Bryant himself would say that after facing him, he ended up with bruises all over his body, making him one of the most feared players in the league.
Fun here. Kobe, toughest defender for you?
Tony Allen. It's easy.
Yeah.
Tony Allen. My fault.
Really?
He was the only one that wasn't crying for help.
Though Allen secured an NBA championship with the Celtics, it was in Memphis where he truly left his mark, leading a defensive revolution that stood in stark contrast to the league's three-point shooting trend. Allen and his Grizzlies teammates commanded respect and fear throughout the NBA, rallying behind the motto, "In my neighborhood, they abuse bullies." How could a player thrive in the Stephen Curry era without being a prolific scorer? This is the story of Tony Allen, the player who didn't need to score to be the best. Anthony Allen was born on January 11th, 1982 in Illinois, Chicago. Son of Ella Allen, who had to raise Tony and his three other siblings alone. Despite the difficulties, he always showed a great fighting spirit, and it would be basketball where he would find a perfect place to develop his talent. Due to his height and natural physical conditions, Tony was quickly considered by school teams to be part of them. Despite the problems he had scoring and the ridicule of fans for his failures under the basket, he continued his path to becoming one of the best defenders in NBA history. Allen will forever be remembered as a versatile, all-purpose defender. Coaches consistently assigned him to guard the league's top scorers and playmakers. This relentless style earned him a reputation among opponents as a nuisance, a tenacious defender who never gave his mark a moment's rest. Allen was also known for his eccentric behavior on the court, using unorthodox tactics to unnerve his opponents.
He bends down next to me, and he turns into my ear and just starts going, like, as loud as he could breathe.
Not for nothing was he named to the NBA All-Defensive Team 6 times in 7 years he played with Memphis. His defense was so renowned that even Kobe Bryant has always mentioned that he was the toughest defender he has ever faced, giving him commemorative shoes in 2016, dedicating the following words to him: "To Tony, the best defender I have ever faced." He took his first steps at Crane High School in Chicago, where he would play with another future NBA teammate, Will Bynum. Unlike other young people who were looking to reach the NBA, Tony would not start in the NCAA, but in the NJCAA for junior colleges. In his first year, he would play for Butler County Community College, where Allen would average 16.5 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 2.8 steals in 32 games, being named second-team All-Jayhawk West Conference and Jayhawk West Freshman of the Year. After his first 2 years in the NJCAA, Tony Allen would transfer to Oklahoma State University to compete in the NCAA. For his junior and senior seasons, Allen showed a great level with the Cowboys, showing himself as a brave and extremely strong player. In his first season, he averaged 14.4 points and 5.4 rebounds in 32 games, but it would be in his last year where Allen would show that he was up for great things. Tony would average 16 points and be Oklahoma's scoring leader, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.1 steals per game. His breakout season would take the Cowboys to the 2004 NCAA Final Four. At the end of the season, he would be chosen as the Big 12 Player of the Year, as well as an All-America honorable mention by the Associated Press. Tony's time at Oklahoma was so impressive that he became the first player in history to surpass 1,000 points in his college career in just 2 seasons. Tony was taking part in the 2004 NBA Draft. After a brilliant career in college basketball, but without being widely considered a future NBA star. In that draft, the first choice would be Dwight Howard for Orlando and Emeka Okafor second for Charlotte. There would also be other players with outstanding careers in the NBA such as Ben Gordon, Andre Iguodala, Devin Harris, or Luol Deng, and it wouldn't be until the 25th round where Tony Allen's name would appear as the Boston Celtics pick from the Pistons. Although not many knew Allen, the Celtics had certainly noticed the physical and defensive attitudes of that boy from Illinois.
You're going to get picked number 25. I promise you. I promise you. You're going to get picked number 25. So I'm easing up. I'm standing up. They call my name. From Oklahoma State, I ran straight downstairs. I didn't even see my highlights. I don't even know what highlights they put.
The Grindfather arrived in the NBA at 6'4" and with the Boston Celtics to play his rookie season. Tony Allen joined a team led by Paul Pierce. Precisely, Paul Pierce himself would be a great help for a rookie Tony Allen. Pierce would challenge Tony in different ways to motivate and unleash all his talent on the court. Now, one of those challenges was that if he managed to reach the rookie challenge, Pierce would give him his watch valued at $30,000. From that moment on, Allen began to improve his numbers to the point of getting his first start on the team where he would score 20 points against the Hawks. So it was almost the all-star break. I'm playing well. I'm starting for the Celtics. Allen himself commented, remembering the anecdote. His good performances and appearances in the Celtics starting lineup earned him the chance to participate in the rookie challenge, winning the bet on Paul Pierce and his $30,000 watch, and he even had the luxury of being his team's top scorer at that time. Allen's first season in the NBA averaged 6.4 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 0.99 steals in 16.4 minutes in 77 games, 34 of them starts. For his second season with the Celtics, Paul Pierce will continue to challenge Tony to ensure that his role as a scorer improves, which is how in the Summer League, Pierce told Allen that if he got 5 dunks, he would give him $2,000. Allen would get 4 dunks in a row, and the last one would come from a steal from Tony while he was running. He told Pierce, "Prepare the Bills." Despite Pierce's efforts to develop Tony into an offensive player, Allen would continue to show that his strength was on defense. However, for his second year, Allen would improve his offensive numbers, averaging 7.2 points, 2.2 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and 1.0 steals in 19.2 minutes in 51 games. This second year of Allen would have some problems off the court, being charged in November 2005 with 3 counts of assault after a fight that led to a shooting in August 2005 in Chicago. However, Tony would be acquitted of all charges and would continue his career with the Celtics normally. In his third year in the NBA, Tony Allen would achieve the best offensive numbers of his career, averaging 11.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. That same season, he would score 30 points against Denver, which would be his game with the most points in his entire career. Unfortunately for Allen, in the middle of the season, he would suffer a serious anterior cruciate ligament injury that would leave him out of the rest of the season, only playing 33 games. This defeat was also very hard for the Celtics, who were left out of the playoffs for the second consecutive year. Although there were many doubts about Allen's health, and that he could be the same after his serious injury, Tony will recover in time for the 2007-08 season, and his first appearance after his injury would be the victory against the Washington Wizards, where he would get 4 points and 5 rebounds. From that moment on, Allen would be a very important piece for the Celtics, being one of the best defenders in the NBA. This would cause the Celtics to reach the playoffs after 2 years, and after the victories against Atlanta, Cleveland, and Detroit, they would be able to play in the NBA Finals against Kobe Bryant's Lakers, where the Celtics were proclaimed champions after 6 games, and Tony Allen achieved his first and only NBA ring. At this point, Tony Allen was considered one of the best defenders in the league, and one of the best to have passed through the Celtics in their history. His fight, dedication, and way of defending made Boston renew him for 2 more seasons. In his last season with the Celtics, Allen's defense would be key for Boston to have a brilliant year, achieving first place in the Western Conference, averaging 6.1 points, 2.7 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and 1.07 steals in 16.5 minutes in 77 games. However, where the great importance that Allen had for his team would be seen would be in the playoffs, where he played 24 games, being a wall when it came to defending. This, along with the power to develop, would lead the Celtics to another NBA final against the Lakers. But this time, Kobe Bryant and company would have their revenge. They defeated Boston in 7 games, being one of the most remembered series in NBA history. This would culminate Tony Allen's time with the Celtics after 6 seasons, and achieving 1 NBA ring, being remembered as one of the best defenders in the history of the franchise.
In basketball terms, the highest praise you can offer of a player is to call him a 4-syllable curse word that starts with mother. It means you are nobody anybody wants any part of. Tony Allen was that for Memphis.
Tony Allen would come to the Grizzlies in 2010 to join a team in full formation, since in previous years they had acquired the services of Mark Gasol, Zach Randolph, Mike Conley, and Rudy Gay. After his arrival, Tony Allen would say that one of the reasons he left the Celtics was that he felt overshadowed by Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. But with the arrival of Allen, the team and its fans were infected with his fighting spirit, and it didn't take long for it to be reflected on the field. Memphis had become a team that was swimming against the current with a clear trend in the NBA, such as fast-paced play and three-point shots. Instead, they were based on a slow attack rhythm with the inside game of Gasol and Randolph, while Allen and Conley on defense made them a tough and tireless team, earning the nickname Grit and Grind. Tony Allen, in his first season with the Bears, emerged as one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA with a 1.79 steals average. This would cause the Grizzlies to pace the league in steals and turnovers. His first year with Memphis was incredible, being named to the 2010-2011 NBA All-Defensive Second Team, his first selection. In addition, his good performances would place him fourth in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year. That season, Tony Allen managed to average 4.14 steals every 48 minutes, the highest rate by a player since Nate McMillan in 1993-1994. At the end of the season, Allen averaged 8.9 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 1.4 assists with 5-10 shots in 20.8 minutes in 72 games. Thanks to their high level, the Grizzlies have reached the playoffs again since 2006 in the Pau Gasol era. In the first round, Allen and company would have to face the San Antonio Spurs, where they would surprise by beating the regular season leaders. However, they fell short of the conference finals when they were eliminated in 7 games by the Oklahoma City Thunder. For his second season, Tony Allen continued with excellent defensive numbers, averaging 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists with 469 shots in 26.3 minutes over 58 games despite the reduction in games due to the 2011-2012 lockout. Allen was destroying all franchise records at a defensive level, as was the night of April 23, 2012 against the Cavaliers, where he would get 8 steals. Being his personal best and that of his team so far, he would also make the NBA's first defensive team and finish 6th in the Defensive Player of the Year voting, an extremely high position for any point guard. For its part, Memphis would return to the playoffs after finishing 4th in its conference for the first time in its history. However, they would be eliminated in the first round against the Clippers. The 2012-13 season came with a lot of optimism for the Grizzlies and their fans, a team that was already confident in its game and with some needed offensive improvements. Memphis would achieve its best record of victories with 56 in the regular season. For his part, Allen was already an indomitable beast on defense, being the most voted for the NBA defensive teams, being his 3rd consecutive choice. He would once again be at the top of the voting for Best Defensive Player of the Year, this time in 5th place, averaging 4.6 rebounds and 1.51 steals in 26.7 minutes in 79 games. Without a doubt, we would see the best version of Tony Allen in his career in the playoffs, where he would be the key for Memphis to eliminate the Clippers and Oklahoma. After 3 years where Tony Allen did everything necessary to take the Grizzlies to the top, they reached their first conference final in franchise history. Allen would have the best numbers of his playoff career that season with 10.3 points, 6.1 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 2 steals in 28.1 minutes in 15 postseason games. Despite the good moment in which Memphis reached the finals, the San Antonio Spurs would learn the lesson of 2 years ago adapting to the defensive game of the Grizzlies and neutralizing their offensive weapon Zach Randolph. Finally, the series would end in a sweep by San Antonio. Tony Allen would earn a new 4-year contract with the Grizzlies, as they considered him unquestionable. For the following years, Allen continued to be a key piece in Memphis's defensive gear, where his main task was always to mark the best talent on the opposing team, a job that was Allen's favorite. Although Tony maintained good numbers in his last years with the Grizzlies, the team would not be able to return to a conference final after 4 years, where they would suffer 3 eliminations in the first round, 2 of them by the Spurs, and a 4th elimination in the semifinals against Stephen Curry's Golden State. Tony Allen said goodbye to the Grizzlies in 2017, averaging 9.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 1.62 steals in 71 games. Although he did not win a championship with Memphis, he undoubtedly gave it the best time the franchise has ever had, leading the team to its first conference final, obtaining the record for wins in a regular season for the Grizzlies, and qualifying for the playoffs 6 times in 7 years that Allen was there. Therefore, the team would retire Tony's number after his retirement as a professional. In September 2017, Tony Allen would join the New Orleans Pelicans after 7 years with the Grizzlies. Allen arrived at his new team at 36 years old, knowing that his best years had already passed. Tony would only play 22 games with New Orleans due to a fractured left fibula. Certainly at this point, everyone thought that Allen's career was over. However, he tried to return to the field in January 2018, but he would relapse from his injury. In February, New Orleans made its transfer to the Chicago Bulls official, despite Oklahoma's interest in acquiring its services to strengthen its defense. But everyone would be surprised when the Bulls would surprisingly waive Tony 8 days after the trade without ever playing a single game with Chicago. After several rumors, and although Tony Allen still had the level to contribute to any defense in the league, we would not see him again on an NBA court. Retiring in 2018 after 14 seasons, one NBA championship with the Celtics, and 6 times named to the NBA Defensive Team of the Year, all playing with the Grizzlies. After his retirement, Tony Allen would make the news when he was indicted in 2021 along with 17 other players due to fraud on health insurance and benefit plans for veterans that reached $4 million. Fortunately for Tony, he would avoid jail due to his statement and pay a corresponding fine. This case would be so serious that former player Terrence Williams would be sentenced to 10 years in prison for leading the movement. Allen would later say, "I am very sorry for my actions in the past. I am sorry." Beyond that stain on his career, there is no doubt that Tony Allen has been one of the best defenders in recent times in the NBA. He will always be remembered in a good way in Boston, but especially in Memphis, where fans remember him as that player who gave the team that fighting spirit that was so lacking to make the leap. The importance that Allen has had in the history of the Grizzlies is so great that in 2022, the Memphis team would retire the number 9 in his honor. Although his ending was not the best, Allen was able to mark an era with the Grizzlies in a different way than the entire NBA, showing that he did not need to be a great scorer to earn the respect and fear of his rivals.